Hey guys. So a few of you asked if I would do a video on mixing the last track that I did. So we're going to get into that. But what I like to do is this is kind of how you would work in the industry. You'd send the stems out to audio engineer. And so that's kind of how I like to do it. So what I'll do is I'll stem out all the brass, percussion, strings, and then I'll mix from that. So I want to make sure that so I already did this already, but I want to make sure all the balances are right within the sections, and then from there we'll mix the sections. I don't use a lot of compression when I mix these kind of tracks. Maybe some on the percussion, but I like to keep the strings and brass kind of dynamic. So rather than do that, I'll do like fader moves. So I'll bring things up and down rather than use compression. So, but we're going to use a fair amount of EQ. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about the frequencies and EQ kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's stem the stuff out first, and then we'll bring it into another session. So the way I have it set up is, let's look at the bottom of this. I have the orchestral sections. These have all the reverbs and stuff, and then that goes to stems. So in this piece we have the 5 stems: string, brass, woodwinds, choir, and percussion. So then from that I want to print the stems. So what I do, just so we have separate files, I'll create audio tracks. And I should have did this beforehand, but so we're gonna add 5 audio tracks here. Put these in record mode. It should print. Let's see. So let's arm these. This is a little side note, but I'm gonna talk about this in another video. But I just got the Junkie XL horns. The 4 horns. So, and I replaced that for the beginning part. So I'm really digging that. So I'm gonna do a separate video with how I redid a lot of the brass parts. Okay, so let's print these sections here. We don't need these monitors on for now. Okay, so now I'll export those into another session. So you notice I added this voice at the end here. This is new. So a lot of tweaking went on in between the last video and this, but so this is a solo voice from Jaeger, which I love, the solo woman's voice. It's very, the transitions are great. It's really expressive. And I added some, you can hear some delay in this too. Let's get that kind of dreamy, dark thing. All right, so let's bring them over to the other session and then we'll get to work. Okay, so here we are. We have the whole, we have the 5 stems in here. So I just want to check the levels of this before we do anything. Just make sure we're not, see where we're peaking and stuff. I kind of have an idea about. So we still have some headroom at this point, which is good. I was kind of trying to be aware of that as we were going along with the track. So the only other time we may peak would be the final section. So let's keep it going here. Also notice I added a triangle there. Very essential element here. So yeah. Okay, let's see here. Wow. Still stayed under, still didn't clip there, so that's good. Check out this percussion. Bass drum there. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna have this brass intro here. Let's take a look at what's happening with this. EQ wise. So I'm gonna bring in the Fabfilter here. Excuse me. So you notice, I mean, the horns, they kind of live in that middle area there. And that's why I try to sculpt the strings around that, like the bass and the highs. So with strings, it'll be like 12 kilohertz. And maybe take a little bit of like 400 hertz out, you know, the mids kind of. So then the horns can kind of live in there. you want to kind of, when you mix stuff, and this holds true for anything, but you want to try to make room for things frequency-wise. Let me just go to this part here. I mean, nothing's jumping out at me with the horns, but here's this big horn part that I want to check out here. Actually sounded pretty good there. I mean, I really was picking and choosing the instruments the sound I was going for. So I'm pretty happy with how that sounded. I'm noticing something here like around 5. That's kind of around 500. I'm not going to mess with that yet. Keep it in mind, but let's hear the final section. It's nice. I mean, if anything, we can brighten it up a tiny bit, but not too much. I like that it's kind of warm, especially for the beginning part. So if I were to brighten it up, let's see. I mean, so let's put a little shelf here to see what that feels like. Not too much though. Maybe a couple. Oops, that's too much. A couple dB, and then we'll hear the difference. There's just without. That's nice. I like that. Gives a little more air up there. Kind of want to boost maybe some of these bass frequencies with the tuba. Just see where this is. I like that. Give us a little A little, like, especially, let's look at the beginning for a second. So yeah, let's check out this part. Let me just try it. I'm just going to try to cut a little bit of this out. Not too much. There it goes. Turn up the Q here. It's around 6 here. But like I said, you don't want to mess with the mids too much with brass, because that's kind of where they live, you know? Kind of got some resonant stuff happening there. Without. Yeah, I like that. Maybe not that much. Just like this. Okay, so that's good. So I like to EQ first, and then we'll do some fader moves, some level automation. So let's check out this section here. Bring in the Fabfilter again. So I definitely want some more air on these high strings. So for that, a good place to start with the strings is around 12K. So put a little bump here and see what that sounds like. Although I don't want a shelf here, I want just a bell for now. This Q is too low. And it gives it a nice air on the top there. Hear the difference? Without and with. And that harp comes out there too. That seems like kind of a lot, but it's not too, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, I usually boost between 4 to 6. Let's bring it down to 4. Now another thing with the strings. Take like the mid and cut it a bit. So kind of like that boxy area, which is between like 350 to 5 something, right? Yeah, like around 4. So how much do we cut? Start with 2. Just makes it, gives it a more like silky sound in combination with that high boost. Take it off. Hear the difference. Now, let's talk about the lows for this. Kind of okay with that. But I'm gonna boost 1 dB for the lows. Anyway, let's I like that. Let's go to a different section here. What's this? Oh, this is just yeah, I wanted to hear this section. Good. Here it's like boxy a little bit without it. So I think that helps it a lot. I'm a little worried about, I don't want to boost the bass too much because then we're going to get a little muddy, but maybe I'll keep it. And sometimes actually in sessions, people cut the bass in the strings to leave room for other stuff. So let's leave it where it is. Let's not mess with that right now. Yeah. Especially I want to check out the pitches. See how bassy those are. Next part. You know what? I'm gonna go up back to 1 dB again. That's nice. See this end section here. Move this up to 80. So like I said before, we don't do any compression on the strings. The only thing I compress maybe is the percussion part. We have to see. We'll get to that last. So that's good for now, the strings. We got strings and brass. Let's check out the woodwinds. Woodwinds are pretty important in this piece, actually. Try to use the woodwinds more. Really like the colors you get. I've always liked, especially I've written a lot for clarinet. I like the sound of that. And bass clarinet. But it's just great all the different colors you get within the woodwind section. Between the double reeds and the single reeds and the flutes. So anyway, let's check it out. A contrabassoon in there that I added that part. That's actually a new part there. So a lot of tweaks happened between this and the last video of the series. Let's bring in the Fabfilter EQ and check out what's happening here. It's the oboe there. Okay, so all this mid-low stuff sounds good to me. The only thing that's jumping out, and we don't really know yet because we don't have the high flutes in, but I think maybe we could brighten up the whole thing a little bit. But let's go back to this again. Just curious about something here. I may do like a shelf for the lows, but I don't want to go nuts, but maybe just even 1 dB starting at like the low mids, like 200. So let's see, just 1 dB here. Let me just check this back here. And let's especially listen to the end here, where we have the bass clarinets at the end with the contrabassoon and bassoon. That's nice. Okay, I like all that. Let's keep moving. The contrabassoon there. That's like that growl for those hits with the percussion. So this is all kind of low stuff happening. Alright, this is a good part to check out. These let's see when the flute comes in. The contrabassoon. So I definitely want to brighten this up a little bit. So let me think about this. I'll probably do a shelf at like 6. But let's listen to, I want to, where this flute comes in, I want to stay on this for a couple seconds. Oops. Yeah, I mean, even a little lower, like starting around 2K. So let's do a high shelf here. I just want to exaggerate it for now, just to see what's going on. So we're going to do like 5, which seems crazy, but... See, that gives us a nice air with the flute there. There you see. So, you know, it's not... This seems crazy, but I think 4 dB might be what we want. Yeah, because now that flute is really coming out a little more, which is what we want. And you just hear more of that breath there in the flute, as opposed without it, right? It's a little dull. So I'm actually not too much. Let's do 3 dB. But I like what it's doing. And in fact, I'm switching it to a bell because there's not really much going on up top there, so you don't want to bring in anything that's going to get in the way of the other stuff. So let's do a bell. Yeah. Let's try that. We'll go a little higher with it. It's like around. Actually, you know what? No, I like the shelf now that I... Yeah. It's giving us more of that air. I don't want to get too much of the mids in there. Okay, that's good for now. Let's see this. Oh wait, let's check this M part here. Okay. Moving along. What's next? Choir. We're waiting for the end for percussion. So let's check out the choir. Now, I know right away, this is all, we use women's choir, so let's get rid of all the bass information. So right away, we're going to do a low cut. Oh, let me bring in the EQ here. So you could see that right away that there's some weird low information that we don't need happening. See all this? Okay, so that's, let me just, yeah, oops. So low cut, right around here, pretty extreme. We can go. So that's kind of stuff you're not going to hear, but it's going to interfere with what's going on in the other sub instruments, like especially percussion. We have the bass drum and bass in the strings and contrabassoon, stuff like that. I can go even higher with this. I don't want to go too high, but... And actually, before we... Let's just look at this section to make sure. And especially this solo part at the end. That's a little lower, but even that, we're pretty good with this. I'm not hearing much that I want to change with this. Excuse me. There's a lot of mid information, but that's kind of the nature of the choir, you know. Let's go back to this. So you have this here. And you could tame it a little bit. That's just drastic, but 666. So I'm gonna take a little out, but not too much, because like I said, that's part of the nature of it. That's kind of the space that we wanted to occupy, right? And I'm not gonna mess with the brightness of this either, to interfere with what's going on, what we did in the strings, right? Let the strings have that area. And cymbals, right? We got cymbals and strings taking up this high area. So we don't want to mess with that. So you might even bring up the choir there. Bring up the choir there, but I'm not sure yet. So that's pretty straightforward with the choir. Let's tackle the percussion now. This first thing I think is like a cymbal swell. So right away, that I definitely want to brighten up the percussion. So give it some air, those cymbals especially. Let's listen to this part. Let's take a look at it. Actually, I want to see the next section because I bring in the bass drum there. So let's do that. In fact, let's bring it back. We get that cymbal thing. Cymbal swell. So I want to give some beef to that bass drum there too. Alright, anyway. Bring in the Fabfilter. I mean, the question is, how dark do you want to go with the cymbals? And I think we could brighten it up a little bit. So cymbals are like, I know this from mixing like metal and stuff and everything else, but cymbals are like above 6K, like 8K to like way up there, right? So start at like, let's do a shelf at around 7-ish. Let's get this little, so let's just see what this yields. Shelf, high shelf. Just gonna start, well, let's go extreme to like 4. We're definitely not gonna do that much, but also I hate knobs. Everything should be what do you call it? Like faders, because it's like, do you rotate it, do you go up, do you go across? Like maybe it's just me. Check it out, let's see. So it gives it some nice air. Let's see without. Right, you hear that real like sheen of the cymbal, right? But not 5. Let's go to like 4. I don't know why I went way to 5. And also, so let's check just that cymbal swell, because that'll give us a good indicator of what's going on here. I'm gonna go to 6. Yeah. Nice. Let's hear it with everything. Yeah, right? That's that nice sheen up top now. Sparkle. Yeah, so let's what's happening here? Let's go to this part again. So we're just checking the cymbals right now, and let me look at the end. Oh, this is another, what's this? A little cymbal thing. But I want to check especially this tam thing at the end. Oh, and the piatti there. So this whole section, let's check this out. The snare. So you got to be careful. Now I feel like maybe it's a little too much now. We're going to lower it a little. Down to 3. And that's kind of why I brought the snare and the piatti in at the end. I wanted that bright. Okay, so we're good with the highs here. Let's go. I want to check out the timpani again. See if we want to take out a little mid or not. And then we'll deal with the low end. But that'll be the final thing. So let's look at this for a second. See that kind of boxy, right? Which is around 4. Not that much, obviously, but. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the timpani. So let's, if I take anything out, it'll be only a little, like, or 3-ish. Too much. Cause that, I mean, that's the way the timpani sounds, you know. Good. So at the end here, we have some bass drum thing happening. You hear that sub. Oh, this is a good part because we have all this, yeah, see that's around, where is that? That little tam thing there. It's pretty low, it's around like 50-ish. Right, that's our bass drum. So that's good, we can bring in some punch there. Let's start, this seems like a lot, but kind of is. That's around 60. Alright, so that's a good starting point. Let's go back to this section. This has the bass drum in there. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is a low shelf and bring it up to like 100. Maybe 200. Just get that bass drum in Gran Casa. Let's not go too much. So let's hear it without. Right? Because we have a lot of space down there, right? Though, see what happened? Taking out that mid, we kind of lost the character of the timpani. So I'm actually going to bring this back up. Oops. Let's leave it. Definitely going to bring the winds up there because they're kind of... Alright, so I think we're good with that. Let's talk about automation. So let's bring in our lanes here. Oh, well, I mentioned compressing the percussion. But I don't think I want to do that because here's the reason. We don't have a lot of epic percussion happening. And it's not super busy. So I'm going to keep it dynamic the way it is. And we're going to rely on fader moves. So what's the focus of the first part? It's the brass, right? So I think we could bring this to the forefront more until the strings come in here. Which is right there, right? So what I would do... right about there. So, oops, what do we do? So let's zoom in on this for a second. So just like plus 2 dB maybe. But I want to see, we'll look at the mixer and see. In fact, let me bring that up. See this thing, I wish I had another, it's not going to stay in there, but. That's good because it's supposed to be kind of, it's a very quiet sort of choral section, so I don't want to go too much with it. So I think that's good. That's good. Balance there is nice. Woodwinds can come to the forefront here. So there we're back to the strings. I may even bring the strings up there, but okay, so up to there. Let's have the woodwinds come up a couple dB. Let's zoom in on that. Let's start with 2 dB and see how that feels. It's always the magic number. feel like we could go another dB with that. I don't know if that's going to be too much. Let's see. So we'll go to 3. Let's hear the transition. It'll help. So we'll go back here. Nice, at the front more. So the focus of this little section is the strings. This. So we could bring it down a bit there for that oboe. So right there, that's all about the strings. So that's what you have to think when you're mixing these things. This is a good point. What's the focus of a certain section? What are you bringing up? And that's why like compression is not always the answer, because you know, you want to make these moves with focal points of each section. Like, what do you want the person's ear to focus on? And in this little thing, it's the strings. So let's exaggerate it. Let's bring it up 3 dB and see. Oops. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that works. That really makes a huge difference. In fact, let's hear this whole section here. So obviously, so this is about the choir and that string. Well, let's first bring the choir up, because it's also about the string figure here. But that's, I mean, that's why I reinforce this with the woodwinds. So I don't think we have to worry about that getting lost so much. Now, so let's start with bringing up that choir, and then we'll go from there. Not too much though, I mean. And then the next part is going to be, the focus is going to be with the brass. So that choir is going to come down there at that point. So let's just bring it up a couple dB and see what that feels like. It's all about the energy, really. feel like I could push it a little further. Let me just take a look at the mixer. Okay, so I'm going to do two things. This is going to come up another dB to 3. And I am going to bring the strings up a hair, at least until the brass comes in. So how much? 2. Let's start with that. So we were at 3 here, so we're coming down to 2. Check that out. Yeah. Yeah, that bass drum there is nice. Here's what I'm thinking. Keep the strings up for when that brass comes in. So what was that? 2, where were we? So let's keep it at 2. Because we have some headroom there too. I feel like maybe the choir can stay up too. Everything is sort of... Oops. Or at least... Let's go down to 2 for this. Yeah, because I have some nice stuff happening in the strings I don't want to lose, like this. That's okay. Now, okay, good. The brass, I don't want to bring it up too much because it's pretty good as it is, but let's just go for 2, and if that's too much, we'll pull it back. Because I want to hear the trombone stuff. Like that. Yeah, I like that. Let's check it out in the mixer, make sure we're good. Yeah. Yeah, there's some nice that clarinet thing is nice, but this is pretty much about the strings. So in fact, so we were up at, what did I do? Yeah, let's keep it at +2 here. See what that yields. Now there I want the winds to come out more. So let's check that out. Let me save this just in case. So another reason why it's good to bring the stems out like this is like it's a lot easier to grasp everything and mix everything. It's kind of overwhelming if you have all these individual instruments. It's a mix. So once you get the balances right within the groups, you can fine-tune the balances between sections a lot easier this way. So what do we, oh yeah, so we're going to bring the winds up a couple dB here. And see what that, might want to go more, but let's just see. Yeah. Come down here. Can we push it more? Go to 3, but I don't know. Well, let's go. Let's try it and see if it's too much or not. So we're going to go plus dB in it for this section. Plus 3 dB. Yeah. I like that. All right, let's make sure we're, we gotta check this end thing here. But let's see how we're doing with headroom. We're really good, actually. I don't want to mess with that too much. So this is a big 2D section, so everything is kind of balanced here. Let's listen to brass and choir. Brass and strings. So everything's up at 2 because we kind of held it over from the previous section, which is fine. But let's check. I feel like the woodwinds might get lost here. Let's bring them up. Not too bad actually, but so it was up at 3. Let's go down to 2 like everything else. That should be okay. We're good actually. But here's what I'm thinking. Kind of want the bass drum at the end here. I don't know why I didn't put it in there. It's on the big downbeats. I put it there for that swell, but I didn't do any hits there. For the final hour, we're still bringing stuff in, but I just feel like I want that reinforcement there. SOUNDCLOUD. So just the downbeats. Let's do it. If I can time it right. Wasn't bad actually. So way down with this. So let's give out put a little more punch on this. Bring in the EQ, Fabfilter. So look like it's around like a punch is around like 100. So that's good. Let's check it out. Not that much, obviously, but could go like 4. Why not? Hair loud though now. Hear the mix in this. The voice is good where it is, but I'm more interested in the woodwinds combination with the strings. We have this nice That's good, actually. Yeah. So I have that tam ringing out, but I kind of like that. Because you don't really know it's there until, I mean, it has a presence, but when everything comes out, it's nice to hear that fade out. So limiting, let's talk about limiting. With that, I just want to like kiss it with very little limiting, very 1 or 2 dB reduction. You know, so the limiter will kick in to reduce only a few dB, if anything. So that's the approach, because I want to keep the dynamics in this. Right, because it starts soft. But I think the limiting will help sort of glue it all together. So what do I use for limiting? Let's think about this. Let's just loop this thing so we can start working with it. Trying to what time is it? So let's bring in the mixer. Oh, now we clipped somewhere, probably where we put in the well, that's why we'll use the limiting. That's fine, because we brought that bass drum in. The Fabfilter has a nice limiter. The Pro L. Just go with the default and see what. So the output will set to negative point. Negative 0.5. One thing I want to do, I want to look at EQ for the whole mix here before we do this. Because I'm getting some. Oops. Fuck this thing. stop this. Okay. So I did a mix. I bounced it down to check it out, and there were a couple things I changed, so let's talk about that. And I want to, there's a few things I want to change. So I took away a lot of the automation. The only thing I really automated was bringing up the choir. And then I brought it down where the solo voice comes in. Because, yeah, I didn't like all the moves that I was doing, because I kind of worked that out in the piece. So it was a little too much. And also, I noticed that the strings were a little bright. So I want to address that now. So let's take a look at that EQ. So this bump that I put at like 12K is a little too much. So I'm going to take it down a couple dB. Because it was getting towards kind of being harsh. So let me bring it down a couple dB here. Maybe not even, like 1.5 dB. So that should be better. In fact, let's listen to some of the strings here. So without the EQ. Okay, that part, but let's actually go to this part. So we're still getting that bow action now, but it's just a little less. And we took away some of the mids like we talked about. And I took some notes here after. So when I listen to stuff, I take notes at what I want to change, obviously. And also, I was thinking of adding the Studer tape emulation to the whole thing to kind of warm it up. So let's take a look at that and see what that sounds like actually. So we'll go to let's go to the beginning of the track. And I want to talk about, I changed the some mastering stuff too, so we'll talk about that. Oops. Let me take off the mastering for now. The limiter and stuff, so I ended up using Ozone. Let's move this down here for a second. See, the master EQ, I'm brightening up here too. But that's fine. It was mostly the strings I was noticing, so I kind of just dialed that back a little bit. Taking away some mids here. Some of this like high mid type thing. It's kind of, that's like a harsh frequency, so I took that away a little bit. In fact, let's listen. So that's that kind of. Okay, so let's play it. Let's bring in the Studer, which I think is under here. Oh no, actually, powered plugins. So I really like this Studer tape. I use this a lot, especially if I'm mixing other stuff like metal and stuff. But I think it's also great, obviously, on classical stuff, film kind of stuff. Gives you that nice like tape saturation, but it's not too much. So in a way, it tricks the ear into thinking that things are more present, creating that harmonic distortion. Okay, so we got the Studer in here. Let's check it out with that. And I like to go 7.5 IPS. Is better bass response at a lower frequency. So yeah, here's the Studer. We'll put it on a 250. It's a type of tape. And calibration +3. IPS, I like inch per second. That's the speed of the tape. I like a slower speed. It gives you better bass response. So 7.5. And then we're going to tweak the input and see what we're getting here. So we'll get the percussion peaking around 1 to 2, plus 1 or 2 there, just to get some nice, like, saturation. So I don't mind if those big hits kind of pin the needle there. Yeah, I'm noticing some nice stuff in the horns especially. Let's go to this M part. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we're using for a limiter here. I actually went with the ozone. And all I'm using is the maximizer. Since I did my own EQ, I didn't want to do any like spatialization or anything like that. And I didn't think it's not like, I don't know, I don't like doing a lot of compression on this stuff. I mean, it's a different story if I'm mixing like trailer tracks, but for this kind of track, I want to keep it dynamic. So we're not doing a lot of like multi-band compression or anything like that. So for the maximizer, I have it set to this classic IRC4. Ceiling is 0.3, negative 0.3 dB. Have the threshold around 5. So let's watch this as we go along here. So right here we're getting a little reduction, but not much. So not too bad there. A little on the big hits, but that's fine. So I didn't go too much with this threshold. I didn't want it to sound like squashed. I find that like tracks are more powerful when there's less compression. I know that sounds like counterintuitive, but when you get that dynamic stuff happening, there's definitely more energy to it. So I try to retain that. Okay, let's listen to the whole track. I think we're good though. Of course, I'll bounce it down and check it out and make any other little changes, but y'all, I mean, you guys know how that goes. It's like, it's a process. You got to keep checking things and listening on the phone and listening on all the different systems until you get what you want, but I'm pretty happy with it right now. So let's check it out from the beginning. Okay. So yeah, I hope you guys found that useful. It's hard. It's very difficult mixing all these different groups of the orchestra. But I find that a lot of the work has to happen before that, and you got to kind of have that goal in mind of separating things, giving each orchestral force its own sonic space, sort of, and makes it a little easier when you get to this point. But also, hopefully, you take away. I mean, for me anyway, I like working with these stems when I mix, and not like the whole session. It just makes it a lot more easy to do stuff like, you know, automation of the volume, and not get bogged down by all the different. So once you get the balances right within the group, then you can kind of automate and tweak that a little bit at the end. I mean, you're still trying to go for the right dynamics, but I always aim more for getting the balance right within the section. So get the woodwinds working together, the brass, the strings, and then you can kind of tweak those stems later. And yeah. So we'll see you guys on the next one. And make sure you leave some comments below. And subscribe if you haven't. Like to get a lot more people into the conversation. And I'm going to be doing, actually the next video I'm going to do is going to be on bitonality. So that should be pretty interesting. We're going to do the different levels of relationships between the two keys. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to write some pieces with that. And yeah, so we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.